if you look at your little table, right, the table says, you know, A plus B, it's T, T, T.
What's 13 are we doing?
What's that?
Which one are we doing? I'll just write it
That's what I did. I didn't know it was 13 here.
If P was true, like this, if you had this where this was true and the other one was true, does that make sense? Like looking at this first line here?
I can't even see what you're pointing to.
Okay, I'm sorry. If B is true and A is true, then plus is going to be true.
Yes.
But we already know that the plus is false. So if B is true and then the plus is false, the only other option is for A to be false. Otherwise, it's going to end up, you know, those are both false. The only way for the plus to be false and the B to be true is for the F to be false.
I think I'm lost now.
Okay. Does that make sense to you, Heath, at all?
Well, I was trying to do it.
Okay.
But what I understand, you start out and you put in all the.
I probably should have done
antecedents.
that a long time ago.
I thought I was like going cross-eyed or something.
Jeez.
Put all the antecedent says true, and then the conclusion is false.
Right.
Of the operators.
I was
Then-
really. Oh, sorry.
And then I chose just at random, but equally for each, if there, you know, more than one M, you know, and then from there, I would try to prove it false.
There's a lot of ways. You can start on any premise, and I actually jumped to the conclusion. The only reason is because I'm trying to delay the excitement of this being a valid argument.
That would be horrible.
I'm trying to delay the fun of that and show you kind of how this works. But the idea here is this to be true, you have to have both conjuncts true, right? So now we know M is true and N is true. But if the conclusion is going to be false, if one of the conjuncts is true and it's a false statement, if the statement is Gracie and Danielle are here, right? We can take this in reality. Gracie and Danielle are here. Is that a true or false statement?
False statement.
It's a false statement because Danielle's gone, right? But if I said Gracie and Heath are here, that's a
True statement.
Now we already know Gracie's here. So in order to make this a false statement, in order to know we have a false statement, which of those statements are we going to pick? Gracie and Danielle are here, or Gracie and Heath are here, if we want it to be a false statement?
Gracie and Danielle are here.
Right. So the only way to do that is to pick the P, make the P false. Is to pick the one with it being false. Does that make sense? So we assign that as false, which then allows us to assign it as false over here. Okay?
I felt like I understood until we got to this problem.
Okay.
I don't know if this is.
Well, you're working it backwards, and that becomes confusing.
Okay.
I'll just
I
finish.
felt like I had it before this question.
No, I just ignore it then. Okay. So let me just finish it. P becomes true. Okay. If P is true, if the antecedent is true, the consequent would have to be true. True horseshoe true to get a true consequent the horseshoe, which means L has to be false. Which means L is false here. That's false, but false plus false is false. So what we found is this is a contradiction. This contradicts itself. It doesn't work. Right? So we know that this is a valid argument because we found that contradiction, because we found it didn't work.
Potentially you could do this 16 times and
depending on where you started, I mean, I've never seen one that would take more than 3 or 4 lines this way. But if we had done this through the traditional method, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 letters. It would be 16 lines. So basically what we did is we eliminated the other 15 lines by just finding that one line by working it backwards. The one that would actually make the decision as to where it's valid or not. Now, I say that because the other argument is that it's a nice indirect way to do it, Gracie. But I don't know that other than maybe 1 or 2 problems on the exam that you would actually need to do that.
I think when I can sit down like in complete silence and like talk it out loud, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I think I'll be able to grasp
Right.
it. I've got an idea.
I would save that for the very end. I would do 5 point. I think it's 6 point. I think it's 6.3 or 6.2. 6.3a or 6.2 numbers 11 through 20. I would save those problems for last. If you cannot do those problems through the indirect method, you can use the direct method. I mean, there's no reason you couldn't. It's just it's a heck of a lot more time.
Okay.
As a note on the exam does not, I don't think there is a time limit on Mod 8 exam. No, wait. Mod 8 might have an exam time limit. No, that one does have a time limit. I'm sorry. That one does have a time limit. The next one does not. Mod 9 does not. The only reason is some of these get complex. Now, this one has an hour to do, so it's a little bit longer than some of the others, and that's because it is a little more complex. I do try to give you plenty of time. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to stop this here.